Okay, is this working, folks? Type something if it is. Are we there? Are we there? Wow, there is a super long lag, but hey, I'm up and ready to talk to you folks. Wow, there is a super long lag, but hey, I'm up. Hey, Mark from Snoqualmie, how's it going? Yes, okay, you can hear me. All right, let's, sorry about this. This is new. I've got a whole new setup, and so working the bugs out. Um, Let me see here. I'm going to go through the scroll here and see if there are any questions. Is Evil Twin actually evil? He certainly can be. No, I'm not late for dinner. I always eat dinner late. So let's see here. Maurice, I appreciate that you appreciate the no nonsense reviews. You know, just trying to do the reviews that I always wanted to see when I was younger, and not doing reviews. So let's see here. What's the story with the license plate? Back there? Oh, that's the license plate that I had when I moved here from from Minneapolis. So just a reminder of where I come from. Will you ever see a new Nissan GTR? I can't really say. I think you all know that I went back to the Japanese design studios at Nissan, and I saw a whole bunch of different things, including the new Z car that is going to be next week's video. And so I did see a lot of things, and there are a few more products that we haven't seen from that session. They showed us everything that they were going to be doing for the next 4 or 5 years. And it was a really super cool event. But I am sworn to secrecy about everything that I saw. So, all right, let's see here. Thoughts on Lincoln? I think Lincoln needs to electrify. They have some plug-in hybrids, and I know that they've got an electric vehicle coming out soon, but I do think that brand seriously needs to electrify. Luxury cars work really well with electrification. They're quiet and they're powerful. That's what you want from a luxury vehicle. Jacksonville, Florida. Hey there. Let's see. Vito from New York. Will you ever test drive the TLX Type S? It all depends on what I can get from the press fleet, and I haven't seen that recently. Maybe not. Gonna do what I can. Any idea when I will get the opportunity to drive the new Cadillac Lyriq? Yes. In about 3 to 4 weeks, I'm going to the event that's going to be held in Park City, Utah. From what I understand from the Lyriq, it is an incredible machine. I know people that have seen it, and they said the light show that comes on when you approach the car, when you get in the car, is nothing short of spectacular. I am hoping that Cadillac finally lets itself be Cadillac. I just think General Motors has not taken that brand to the heights that it needs to. I think Buick needs to be at the level where Cadillac is now, and Cadillac needs to be a step higher. That's just my opinion. Armchair product planner. Let's see. Thoughts on the new Ford Bronco? I like the new Ford Bronco. It's great. It's good to have a competitor to the Jeep Wrangler. You know, the reality is a lot of people say, is it better than the Wrangler? Reality is it depends on the driver, right? Depends on the configuration that you've got the Bronco in. Both of them are very capable machines. I think the Ford actually has the edge on road. And I think we all know that many of these vehicles spend most of their time on road. But all right, let's see here. Let's see. Somebody, Indy Pappy Chulo, in every review you have a shot showing you closing the center consoles with force. What do I have against center consoles? Oh, you bought a Mach-E? Excellent. I love the Mach-E. Yeah, I don't really do it with any malice. I'm just closing it. A lot of times, I think what I'm doing is I'm closing it hard so the audio shows up, because a lot of times there's background audio and I want it to pop out from the rest of the stuff. So no harm meant to the center consoles, but I do try to reach in to show you guys how deep it is. You know, that's just one of my things. I do a lot of things subtly, and I do them often so you guys can tell what a vehicle really is to live with. But does that answer your question, Indy Pappy Chulo? I'm probably saying that wrong, but there you go. Let's see. Let's see. Tell me about my past. I grew up in Duluth, Minnesota. I moved to Minneapolis to work at WCCO. I've always been a television news guy, but a lot of people think that I was a reporter. I wasn't. I only recently got on camera. I was always a photographer editor, so that's why my videos tend to look a little bit more higher production, because that's who I am. I'm a photographer. The reality is I was going to do the reviews, and the show host was going to be the talent for the car reviews at the Seattle station. And the show host wouldn't do it because he didn't know anything about cars. And so my boss said, you know, Volk, get a haircut, put on a clean shirt. You know, a trained monkey can do what our show host does. So be in front of the camera. So that was, wow, probably 20 years ago. And here I am. Ken Lowe, thanks. I'm glad you enjoy them. Let's see here. Hello from California. Chanel or Channel, NJP. Let's see. Let's see. Thoughts about the Silverado EV. I think it's going to be brilliant. Martin Campbell, the guy that helps me with my reviews, has an Avalanche, and it's very much like an electrified Avalanche. And so the combination of having an electrified vehicle as a pickup truck and the versatility of the Avalanche style stuff, I think that's terrific. You know, between it and the Ford F-150 Lightning and the Rivian, and if the Cybertruck ever comes out, it's good to have choices, right? Everybody wants choices. Will we ever see a Ram Dakota? Hard to know. I think that we will, considering how popular the all of the mid-sized trucks are, and the Ford Maverick. I think Ram needs to get into that segment. How is using the new VW interface? I don't like it. It never seems to be predictive. It seems to be different every time I use it. So I'm not really crazy about that. Let's see. How does the XC60 PHEV look? Have a lock when charging. You know what? I didn't charge it, so I don't know. Almost all EVs now have a lock when it's charging, just so charge cords don't get stolen. I actually had a charge cord stolen from my garage and from my car that was charging. My ELR does not lock when the cord is in there. So, but you know, that's kind of a thing that the automakers have figured out. Am I still doing any work for the New York Times? I had to kind of put that on pause, had a lot of things going on in my life and hoping to get back to that soon. But they're not doing an awful lot with automobiles. So, you know, we'll see. I'm busy. I've got other things going on, but I do love working for the New York Times. They're terrific folks. Let's see. When do you think the chip shortage will end? I think the chip shortage will end in a little bit more than a year, but I think what we're experiencing right now is going to continue for a long time. I think the automakers and the dealers have learned something, and that is if you have a shortage, you can charge more, so you don't have to make as many vehicles and you can make more money. I think there's a new paradigm that's about to happen, and I'm not really sure how it's really going to work out, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to go back to the days when you could get $10,000 off on your F-150 from rebates. I think the manufacturers and the dealerships are going to play things closer to the vest. That's just my thoughts. The Dodge Hornet, sister to the Alpha. You know, I saw that the other day. I saw some spy shots of the new Dodge Hornet. And this is pure speculation, but it kind of makes me wonder if Stellantis is going to exit Alfa Romeo. It's going to take Alfa Romeo out of the US market because that vehicle looks so much like the Alfa. I really don't think there's room for two of them. Dodge is not a premium brand. Alfa is. I just don't see there being room for the both of them. Do I think the Silverado EV and Hummer are test beds for future Tahoe and Suburban? I have to believe that they are. Automakers are all about, you know, taking a platform and using it as much as possible. It saves them a lot of money. You know, I really see it. And things like the Suburban and the Tahoe, those are the vehicles that you want to electrify because those are the ones when you're trying to make a difference in the environment. Those are the ones that are putting out, you know, more carbon. And so you really do need to get those big boys off the road. I bought a GV70 based on your review. Thanks for all the excellent reviews. Thank you. Great vehicle. Did you get the matte purple paint? I think is it burgundy? I can't remember, but great vehicle. It continues to do well. It just won Mudfest again, and it's over a year and a half old. So Genesis kind of killing it. Vito B, thanks. I appreciate it. I put a lot of work into these. In fact, probably too much work. My wife just goes, "Are you still working?" It'll be 11 o'clock or midnight, and I'll still be working on these pieces. Any thoughts on the Fiskar EVs and their availability? No, I don't, because, you know, I have to concentrate on, you know, what I'm doing. I just haven't had any contact with the Fiskar people other than interviewing Henrik years and years ago. I hope they succeed. I hope everybody succeeds. I truly believe that the more choice you have, the better. Let's see here. Why is it so hard for most car companies to get infotainment right? Why can't more car companies let Apple or Samsung design their systems? That is very, very complicated. For one thing, you have to understand that, yes, you know, smartphones and all of those interfaces are great at running computers, but, you know, once you get them into a car, they are, you know, the car is the most complex computer, or I'm sorry, the car is the most complex consumer product on the planet. I mean, not only does it have a computer, it really has like more like 20 or 30 computers in it. Those computers need to be tied into the interface, and it also has to run things like the gauge cluster and HVAC systems and all that. I don't think that consumers truly understand how hard it is to get an interface right. You know, gone are the days where your HVAC system was just, you know, a dial and some levers where you'd move some hot air around that was coming off the engine. You know, now it's heat pumps and all that kind of stuff. I've talked to these UX people, and it is insanely difficult to do, crazy difficult, and it's always changing. It's just more difficult. So I don't know if that answers your question. What's my take on Subaru killing the STI? You know, I don't know. You've got to remember, auto companies, they're in it to make money. You know, the joke is they're not really, they make cars, yes, but what they really want to make is money, because if they're not making money, then they can't make cars. And so if people aren't buying STIs en masse and they're making profits, they're not making profits, then it doesn't make sense to make the car. That's the cold, hard truth on that. It just is. We don't like to admit that. I love sports cars. You know, those are the kinds of cars that I like the most. I have a 32-year-old Miata that I bought new. But, you know, if people aren't buying performance cars, the manufacturers just aren't going to make them. What's my favorite all-time car review? I really don't have one. I really don't. All of them, I'm always trying to make each one the best that I can. I mean, I remember really liking the photography in the C8 Corvette. So if you want my gold standard for really good photography, car-to-car shots, drone shots, GoPro shots, all that, that one looked pretty good. At the top of my head, that's what I like. My thoughts on Vinfast. I'm very excited to see if Vinfast can make it work. That whole battery rental thing, though, I don't think that's going to work. I think consumers are going to be confused with that. People want to own things. They don't want to rent things. They don't want to lease things, let alone leasing a battery. It just doesn't make sense. I can't figure that out. Let's see. Let's see. There was something about taillights being on the bottom. Let's see. Cars that turn signals on the bottom of the rear bumper. Why don't journalists mention this to the car makers? We do. And they don't really care what we think. There are reasons why manufacturers do everything, and we are not always privy to that. You know, the reality is a lot of people don't even use their turn signals. So, you know, there is that. But if they're bright enough, and sometimes the fact that they're down low actually catches your attention. I tend to point it out in my car reviews, but, you know, hey, you know, whatever. All right, let's see here. Jack Southworth, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I really do. And I will use that $5 towards gas money because I have expenses. Ed Starr, you love watching my supercar videos online? but just have to wonder how many supercar buyers exist. Not a lot. There aren't a lot of supercar buyers. But you know, the thing is that I like to review supercars simply because oftentimes technologies start there, like carbon fiber chassis and different electronics. Oftentimes, supercars give us an idea of what's coming down the road, no pun intended. Um, Personally, I have no aspirations to own a supercar. I really don't. I'm a pretty practical person. Anytime a car gets past $150,000, I think the point of diminishing returns happens. Um, I would be perfectly happy with a very well optioned Porsche Taycan 4S. Um, I just don't think I could use anything more than that. I think what you're buying with a supercar, when you're talking about Lamborghinis and Ferraris and all that kind of stuff, you're buying exclusivity. And, you know, who doesn't want that? The other thing that you're buying, you know, some people buy supercars for investments. Cars typically aren't good investments, but some supercars are. And Ed, thank you very much. More gas money. And these days, more Electrify America money. I've been doing an awful lot of electric cars, and Electrify America isn't cheap. So I appreciate that. Let's see. Why haven't I reviewed any of the Tesla vehicles? I appreciate what Tesla has done to make the electric car cool. I like their cars. I think the Model 3 is an excellent design. But here's the deal. I have reviewed Teslas in the past, and then they just kind of ghosted me. I had contacts there. They didn't return my calls. I had meetings with them. They didn't show up. And they don't have press people that I can ask detailed questions about. It's tough to get really accurate specs, and I don't get press cars from them. And so considering all of that, that I would have to borrow somebody's car for 3 or 4 days, what's the point? I mean, other people do it. I have other cars that I can review, but really, honestly, if they're not going to play ball, I kind of feel like, why bother? I drive Teslas whenever I can. Recently, I went over to the east side and spent some time with somebody, and I drove their Model Y around and, you know, just checked out autopilot again. I like to stay fresh because I need to know what those cars are all about. But the reality is it's difficult enough to make these videos, and I just really don't need any more hassle. Any insight into how Hyundai Kia Genesis is excelling so well in their products lately? They're just making good stuff. Their design is killer. Their engineering stuff really, really well. EV6 and Ioniq 5 are two of the best, if not the two best, mainstream electric vehicles you can buy today. They're just firing on all cylinders. They don't seem to be compromising at all. And you know, people in the business like to say that cars are a series of compromises. You know, if you've got great design, sometimes that gets, you know, that affects the space inside the cabin. You know, you have more horsepower, so you have less efficiency, all that kind of stuff. Somehow, Kia and Hyundai and Genesis have figured out what to do, and they're really killing it. It's really kind of impressive what that company has done over the last 10 years. You missed my old opening video with the Passat dashboard? Sorry, I'm kind of a minimalist, so it's just the driven D on black background now. So, do you see Kia, Hyundai entering the full-size SUV class? I don't know. I don't think so, because I don't see them with a truck body on frame type of architecture. The biggest they've got right now is underpinning the Palisade and the Telluride. So, you know, never say never, but I don't see it right now. They have trouble fulfilling all of the orders that they have right now. They really can't make things fast enough. XD Jimbo, just wanted to say you've been watching videos since 2012. Thank you. I keep trying to make them better. Chile, hey man, thanks for watching. That's a long ways away. Mazda 3 hatchback, excellent car. Excellent, excellent car. I still have the ELR and it is holding up great. The thing is I don't really drive it all that much because I'm always driving somebody else's car. I've only got about 18,000 miles on it and I bought it in 2005 or 15. So yeah, it's a great car. It is, what an epic failure on the point of GM. You know, the car itself is actually brilliant. The Voelk powertrain is bulletproof. It's a beautiful car, but, you know, they priced it way too high when it initially came out. The sticker price on mine was $83,000. Eventually, after the tax credit, I got it for $35,000. They were just giving them away. But price too high. They never even advertised it. They had one ad and the car was actually on screen for all of 5 seconds during that 1-minute ad. And it was a two-door coupe in a market that wanted SUVs. So, you know, beautiful car, unfortunately, kind of a failure. Will the Dodge Viper ever return? I don't think so. I think that's done. If it does, it will be electrified. And here is one thing that I really like about electrification. There is some simplification on what automakers can do with a skateboard chassis. And so by doing that, there is the promise that they can do more limited runs of esoteric vehicles like the Viper. So fingers crossed, it would be kind of cool to see something like that. Toyota GR, do you think it will sell $25,000 over sticker? No. And you shouldn't buy it if it's $25,000 over sticker. Really, honestly. You know, I've talked to a lot of people about the current situation with automotive dealerships. You know, if the car is unreasonably priced, walk away, unless you really, really, really need a car. My advice for people these days is if you really feel like things are too expensive, buy something that's going to last a year or 2 or 3. Wait this cycle out until prices get more reasonable. But I'm a big fan of just walking away. You have the power. You can do that. $75,000. Man. Sorry, guys. This feed is... And yes, we can all use more gas money. Geez, my gosh. Jack, thanks again. Battery leasing will work in China, such... Indy Papachulo, the Mach-E GT has a 5-second thermal limit. Do you see this going away in a model refresh? How have other EV manufacturers dealt with this? You know, that whole thing, have you ever pushed your vehicle? I mean, I understand that if you're on a racetrack, that's a serious limitation. When I tested the GT, I wasn't aware of that 5-second limitation. And the reality is that if you're pushing that throttle full blast for more than 5 seconds on public roads, you're easily going 100 miles an hour. So as much as I don't like it, The reality is, I don't know that it makes a difference in the real world. And I understand that people don't like these limitations, but the Ford engineers are doing what they can to protect that drivetrain and let owners have as much fun as possible. So don't know the answer to all of that. Vito, I'm sorry, did I miss you somehow? You got $4.99. I'm new to this. I'm doing the best I can. I'm a car guy, and this is my first real live stream. So, Adelaide, Australia, a very good friend of mine is from there, and she was just there. So, Neil, I'm good at this. Am I? I don't know. I'm kind of floundering right now. You know, I like working on videos. I am not particularly fond of the on-camera thing. All right. I've never been all that happy about that. Being on camera is a necessary evil. I'm a photographer editor. That's what I like to do. I like to show people the car. I don't think you really want to see me, but it's a pacing thing. I've got to be on every once in a while. Thoughts on Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe? I drove it very briefly and I like it a lot. I wish there were more plug-in hybrids like that, especially vehicles like that. The reality is that most people just don't drive more than 30 miles in a day. You know, today's video, the XC60 Recharge from Volvo. You can, by charging every day, it's easy to get 11,000 miles of all-electric range. And one, it's cheaper. It's about 20% of the cost of gasoline, at least where I live. Plus, we really do need to take care of our planet. I think we've all seen it. It's not BS. Climate change really is a thing, and automobiles are part of that. Part of it. There's a lot of other things too, but nobody likes to talk about that, but it's the truth. Let's see. David Giles, long story, EV6 GT line all-wheel drive and a Tucson Limited plug-in hybrid. Well, you know what, David, it's really not me, it's you. My biggest thing with people is, and as we say in the automotive journalist business, people don't want information, they want validation. Very few people are really open to doing the research and finding the best vehicle for them. They're just going to go buy another RAV4 or another Honda Civic because we've always been Civic people or RAV4 people. I really think it's great when people step out of their comfort zone and buy something that they're not familiar with. There's a lot of great cars, and every week I'm always shocked at how good these vehicles are. We've all been talking recently at the events that I've been at about there really aren't any awful cars anymore. There's a couple, but you know, for the most part, anything you buy is going to be really good these days because the market just won't support bad cars. But the reality is more people would get better vehicles for them if they would simply look around. So David, good for you. That's awesome. Thoughts on Rivian's CEO comments of the coming worldwide lithium demand and meeting massive needs for EVs? You know, that's going to be a problem. The mining situation needs to ramp up to meet the needs. There's also a lot of very smart people working on battery formulations that don't need as much lithium and as many of these precious metals like cobalt. And so, you know, you know, everybody just seems to think, you know, electric cars are the answer. The reality is that gasoline cars, and somebody asked this, how long is it going to be before gas or EVs are mainstream? I think EVs are mainstream now. These vehicles that are coming out recently, I know that Hummer EV is not exactly mainstream, but it is an amazing vehicle. You really got to appreciate the engineering that went into that, even though it is wildly excessive. But EV6, Ford Mustang Mach-E, Ioniq 5, Cadillac Lyrics that's coming out next year is going to be the Chevy Equinox. There are all these mainstream electric vehicles that are coming out. And the real problem is it's just a shortage of resources to make them. Smarter people than me are working on that. So, no, I'm not going to play piano right now. It's actually not even hooked up to the speakers. So, okay. So much for being the best car reviewer. Hey man, it's Tuesday, and this is actually a very expensive sweatshirt that my wife bought me. So I will tell her that. What equipment do I use to make my videos? Maybe make a video on how I make the videos. I use GoPros, and I use Hero 7s, oddly enough, specifically because they do things that the newer ones don't do. I use an Osmo for car-to-car, a DJI Osmo. I use a DJI Mavic Pro for aerials. And more and more, I've been using a Panasonic UX80 180 for my main camera. I also have a Sony FS7, but the Panasonic is easier to lug around, and it has a better lens on it. So there you go. Is VinFast VF8 and 9 worth buying? Don't know. Haven't seen it in person. So I will never comment on it unless I've actually driven it. You can only pick one non-supercar wagon before they're gone forever. E-wagon. I will go with a Porsche Taycan Sport Turismo GTS. Easy. Brilliant car. Love that car. Money no object. That is the car I would buy. Looking forward to the Ford Lightning review tomorrow? No, I was not invited to the Ford Lightning event. I'm not sure. Maybe the invitation was lost in the mail. Sometimes different people just don't get invited to different things. And for some reason, was not invited, but that's okay. I've got other things to do. Tell New York Times to pick up your videos again. You know what? I talked to them. The reason why they're not doing the videos is because they're not doing any car reviews at all anymore. No reviews. They'll do automotive stuff, but they don't do any reviews. So, all right, let's see. Saw my first Rivian in Spokane yesterday. Very cool. I saw my first one in Seattle. It's in my neighborhood, about 5 blocks away from me, parked on a very busy street, and I feel like it's going to get rear-ended. I'm 73 years old and I drive less than 20 miles a day. What's my next car? Peter, make it the car you love, okay? Buy the car you love. That is always my advice. You'll keep it longer. You'll be more satisfied with it. You'll take care of it better. I have no idea what you like, Peter. So I will always say, buy the car you love. Let's see. Have I ever crashed a press car during filming? Maybe. I have never damaged a car to the point where it couldn't be driven or shot. I have occasionally. run off the road. I think years ago you might have seen my GTI video where operator error. I was just having too much fun and wasn't paying attention and took a corner too hard and slid into a cornfield. So, but no, I've never done serious damage to a car. You drive 100 miles. This is Jason H. You drive 100 miles and you would like to get into an EV, but I'm not sure of the range. Jason, if you can charge at home, I really don't see the point. Why can't you get an EV? Many of the EVs have over 200 miles of range realistically. I just had a Volvo XC60 Recharge, and its range is rated at 223 miles. I easily got 230 out of it. And if you're able to charge at home, and I feel like that's the best advice, if you're going to buy an EV, you really need to be able to charge where you sleep. Charge it up overnight. You wake up the next morning, you've got a full battery ready to go another 200 miles. I understand it's a lot of money and you're stepping into something that you don't really quite understand. We all understand gas. You sit there for 5 minutes and fill up and then you're good to go. But EVs, they're really ready for prime time. A lot of people overthink it. I've been able to live with these vehicles for over 5 years now. You know, vehicles that only had 100, 120 miles of range. Seriously, I can live with an EV that only has 150 miles. I really can. My daily driving is seldom more than 40 or 50 miles. So you just have to look at your lifestyle. The Razor Rookie, hi Tom, first time watching live. Pretty much the first time doing this live. So did I ever meet mechanic Pat Ghost? No, I did not. He lives on the opposite side of the country. So I never did, but I hear he was a gem of a guy and it's really sad that he's passed away. You're in my right ear only on the headphones for some reason. I will look into that. This is my first time and I'm just figuring this all out. What's your gaming console of choice? None. I do not play video games. I am too busy making car review videos. Honestly, you know, for better or for worse, maybe I'm just slow, but I like to think that I just have high standards. It takes me about 50 to 60 hours to research, shoot, write, and edit these pieces. I really don't have time for video games. I just don't have time. I would love to do gaming, but the reality is, you know, the driving games, which is what I would do, it just doesn't have the feel of a real car. I would rather go out and actually drive a real car. And I'm lucky enough so that I get to drive on tracks. Let's see. Plan R from Houston with battery swaps and assumed durability of single gear transmissions. I'm wondering if getting 500K miles will become commonplace for EZs, or you're missing something. You know what? Yeah, I mean, you know, the reality is you don't have an engine that is literally exploding itself to death. You don't have a transmission that has all that friction happening and all. We'll see. It just seems to me that electric vehicles have the possibility of lasting much, much longer than our current internal combustion engine cars. The big thing is going to be is battery life. And the next 5-10 years are going to be very, very educational for all of us. And one thing, I do think EVs are a little bit more complicated than people think. They have a lot of electronics, and there are some issues that are going to happen with those as they get extremely hot and extremely cold. Electronics don't like that. Obviously, the automakers do their best to insulate their electronics from those kind of harsh conditions. But, you know, they still get vibrations, all those kinds of things. I mean, I did a story on it one time for the New York Times about electronics and stereo systems. you wouldn't leave your stereo outside in extreme cold and extreme heat and expose it to vibration. But we expect our cars and our stereo systems to last for 10, 15, 20 years. They are actual miracle products. I will defend that forever. What upcoming vehicles are you most excited about? I am excited to see the F-150 Lightning. I'm excited to see the electrified Porsche Cayman. They've acknowledged that's coming. Let's see, what else am I excited for? You know, Kia has this, the EV9, and I'm very curious to see if it looks like the prototype, which is very, very wild. I'm a real design guy. I love great design. And I've got to say, Hyundai and Kia are kind of killing it. I actually did an interview with the lead designer at Aston Martin, and I always ask the designers that I talk to, who do you like? Whose work do you like? And this guy didn't miss a beat. He just went Kia. Kia's just like from, you know, the basic model to the top model, the entire lineup is extremely well designed. So, you know, got to give them props for that. What's my favorite track? I kind of like Thunder Hill. That was fun. Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid review coming later this year. If it comes out, yeah. I'm not sure of the timeline of that. So, you know, we'll have to see. Do I make time for still photography? iPhone photography. I've got some photos in my house that I've framed and put up, but I don't have time. I'm always doing this car thing. Let's see here. What's my current opinion of the BMW X3? I think it's fine. You know, they're selling all they can. Look, cars are a personal thing. You know, people get into this about, oh, this company makes crap and this one's awesome. The reality is these are all made to reach a certain audience. The automakers do amazing product research to find out who is going to buy their car. And oftentimes they're incredibly accurate. So, you know, the BMW X3 is a perfectly wonderful vehicle. You know, some people love it, some people hate it, some people can't afford it, it's too small for some people, it's too big for others. It just depends on where you're coming from. Wow. Madison 3, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Good night, sweet dreams, and thank you for the support. I appreciate that you appreciate the content. I'm actually going to have a bonus video this Thursday because I shot an awful lot of extra stuff at the Kia Sportage event. And so I'm doing a standalone version for the X Pro and all the off-roading that we did. So there you go. Bonus for you. Which road do you recommend for a fun drive with low traffic near Carnation, Monroe? You know, the Carnation and Monroe is where I shoot a lot of my videos when I'm doing performance vehicles. I have about 9 or 10 different roads that I use. I try to mix it up because I know a lot of you are regulars and I don't want to bore you. I really do. I think about you guys. And I'm always trying to make it a little bit more creative. I don't just go to the same place every time. I do different backgrounds. I'm really honestly must like have 120 different backgrounds that I use to shoot the cars. And I try to put them in their natural habitat. I'd love to own an EV, but I have the need to haul simple homeowner stuff like mulch. And I'm shopping around and torn between the Maverick and waiting to see if somebody makes a small EV pickup. I don't think a small EV pickup is on the horizon within the next year or two. I really don't. The Razor Rookie. The only thing I can say is the Maverick, if you can get one, the hybrid, is really an excellent vehicle. Somehow there's some sort of secret sauce in that vehicle. I expected it to be a very ho-hum vehicle. And I wasn't in the car for 5 minutes and I thought, this is an absolute home run. The interior of the Maverick is obviously plastic and all, but it's really honest. And I think that's part of the secret of the success of that vehicle. Everything about it is honest. It's a simple, basic pickup truck. And I think it's what Americans want. And the fuel economy of the hybrid is off the charts. It's pretty cool. I also like the Hyundai Santa Cruz, not Santa Fe. It's more expensive, but I like the design. It's really neat. So yeah, no EV pickups coming. Would love to see, Brian, you'd like to see video on the video editing and the gear setup. As I said before, my main camera these days is a Panasonic UX180. I use GoPros and DJI Osmo, and I edit on a brand new MacBook Pro M1 Max chip. It is brilliant. Best $5,000 I ever spent. Yeah, it was expensive, but I spend so much time with my computer that it is worth every penny. Good gear, if you take care of it, will take care of you. And I edit on Final Cut Pro. I actually find Final Cut Pro to be much faster and much easier to use than Premiere. And I bought it, 12 years ago for $300, no monthly fee. It's been updated. It's a brilliant program. All cars are too expensive. Try making one yourself. It will take you a long time. So dollar for dollar, they're not bad. I bought a used car this year and hope to buy an EV in 3 years. Where can I find lists of upcoming vehicles? I don't know that there are lists of upcoming vehicles. You just kind of have to root around. Sorry. BMW M3 manual versus Cadillac CT4V Blackwing manual. Would love your take on those. Keep it up. John, you know, both brilliant cars. I have to say I prefer the cabin audience, the interior ambience of the BMW, but the Cadillac is simply brilliant to drive. It just plugs into your synapses. It is a brilliant, brilliant car. Okay. New generation of Toyota Prius for 2023? Nope, I don't think so. You should just buy 2022. Toyota, if you haven't noticed, likes to make something and then they make it forever. The Tacoma has been, the architecture underneath there has been going on forever. So, you know, it's just the thing that Toyota does. Part of the reason why they tend to be more reliable, because they tend to use things forever and refine them. So, okay, I'm gonna have to start winding this up because my wife is making dinner and I'm hungry. I haven't had lunch today, so. Do you think we'll ever see cloth upholstery returning to luxury cars? The Volvo that I did today, the XC60, wool blend, and Cadillac is doing wool as well. I see it. I also see synthetic leather taking over real leather. The reality is synthetic leather is actually better. It's more comfortable, it breathes better, it's more durable, you don't have to take care of it as much. It used to be that synthetic leather was like, ew, synthetic leather, that sucks. Now it's actually a premium thing. You're Ed Star, you're blessed to be living in the Pacific Northwest with great neighbors like me. Are you in my neighborhood? Say hi next time you see me. Vinfast, covered that already. Anxious to see it. Don't really know anything about it. You know, I really can't talk about things unless I've seen them and driven them. You know, and I feel the same way about, you know, when you see a picture of a car, people will say, oh, it's ugly, or oh, it's beautiful. The reality is you have to see it in person because some cars photograph great and look terrible in person and vice versa. So I am always all about checking the car out in person. Model Y or BMW M440i xDrive? You know, it just depends. It's what you want, all right? I am a strong believer in that you should take my suggestions, but buy the car that works for you because I don't know anything about you. You may like the design of one particular vehicle or not. You know, that's why I keep telling people, and some people get sick of it, but I do say test drive at least 3 different vehicles because unless you do, you don't know what you're missing, right? It's kind of the home game of what I do. I drive probably 120 different cars every year. And I really wish people understood what they're missing because so many people will buy the first car that they test drive. Aaron behind bars from Texas. Let's see. Who, if your favorite or most respected automotive YouTube? Bonus points for smaller growing channel. You know what, Aaron? Here's a little secret. I don't watch anybody else's videos. I really don't. Part of it is I'm just trying to keep my own perspective. But I do love running into the folks from Redline Reviews and TF, the Fast Lane Cars, Roman and Tommy. They're terrific people. I know people have their opinions of these different people, but many of these guys are just terrific folks. I think a lot of people think that we're under some sort of competition. You'd be surprised at how much we all kind of help each other and talk about things and agree on many, many things. So the folks at Savage Geese are also awesome, and they do good videos too. So Aaron, there you go. I'm not being politically correct. That's really truly how I feel. Mark, STI Subaru Forester. STI Subaru Forester, is that a thing? I don't think so. I have reviewed a Subaru Forester, but I have not driven the STI Subaru Forester. And I haven't driven the new, the newest performance Subaru either. So let's see. Ever had an EV car run out of charge when testing? Almost. I do try to run them down to nearly empty. But the reality is they are so accurate once they get down to like 4 or 5 miles. It's really pretty tough. And they also have the Navi systems and all that kind of stuff. So you can always find a charger. It's really people, the range anxiety, I wish people could experience electric vehicles for themselves. You're a big TFL fan. Well, yeah, good. Use 4Runner or Pathfinder. Really what it comes down to is finding the vehicle that is in the best shape, right? Okay? The one that's been taken care of best. So, you'll know it when you find it, right? It just comes down to that. A collaboration with Redline and or TFL would be cool. I've actually done something with Roman. Very briefly. We've kind of like photobombed each other's videos, but not too often. Big fan of Emmy Hall? Yes, she's awesome. I get to see her on events every once in a while. They're terrific. And it's really great to have more women, all right? Because, hey, most car purchases are influenced by women, like 65%. And a fun fact for you, the reason why minivans aren't so popular these days is really not so much because of guys. I talked to the folks at Stellantis and Toyota and Honda, and they all say that their market research says that guys actually kind of like minivans because you can MacGyver them, you can put sheets of plywood in them. It's women. Women don't like minivans. It's that mommy mobile stigma. They don't like that. Do you think I'll ever drive the Lucid Air? Hope so. I'm big into EVs. I don't think I'll ever buy another gas-powered car unless I get a screaming deal on a 911 or a Cayman. I do love my Porsches. What's the best car for where I live? There is no best car ever, anywhere, any place. I mean, you know, you can have all-wheel drive in a place where it's very stormy and snowy and all that kind of stuff. But the best car is the one that works for you and meets your needs. Will Evil Twin do a live stream? He's hard to pin down. Not very responsible. I don't know. But we'll see. I'll see if I can get him to do one. Have you driven the Audi SQ7? I have not. I would like to. Who wouldn't want to drive that? You know, sometimes they're just not in the press fleet. I do what I can. Okay, I do need to start wrapping it up. Let's see. Our family of 4 is getting a Sienna very soon, but looking for a hybrid or full electric SUV to complement our adventuring lifestyle in the Pacific Northwest. For by ease, you know, Oakleyaman. I need new glasses. Electric SUVs, it's kind of escaping me right now. You know, for an inexpensive one, I've got to say, from what I've been reading about the new Chevy Equinox, it could be a bit of a game changer. It is one of those things that it is low priced. It just depends on, you know, so many things. A lot can change in the year and a half before it gets out. Do you like Seattle's weather as a YouTuber? Yes, I do. I actually wake up to a sunny day in Seattle, go, dang it, because that nice gray overcast is really great for shooting cars, especially interiors. So I'm not so crazy about the rain, but I've got a rain jacket for me and my camera. Why isn't anybody talking about how small and unusable the cargo space is on the new Sequoia? Because nobody's really driven the Sequoia. I've heard some rumblings about that, but when the full review comes out, I can't go to the press launch because I'm doing other things. I was invited, but I just can't go. But I think, you know, I think once people get in it and drive it, you'll see. Is the Suburban getting an interior update for 2023? I don't know. That one's off my radar screen for right now. Ed, thank you very much again. Good evening to you, and sweet dreams. Someone wrote the N-word in the comments 3 times. Whatever. There's going to be yahoos like that, you know. That is the world we live in. What's the difference between the Telluride and Palisade? You know, they're identical fairly, you know, when it comes to engine, drivetrain, and architecture. Palisade, if I remember correctly, is a little bit more softly sprung and more comfortable. And the Kia is really kind of dressed up as Woodsy Owl, where the Palisade is more suburban, like not suburban like the Chevy. It's just more of a, it's just, you know, it's not like a true SUV. It's a little bit more like a luxury vehicle. So, you know, you look at them both and choose the one that works for you. Okay, really got to go because it's dinner time. But the last thing that I'll say, I'll ask you guys a bunch of questions and you respond in the comments. Is this helpful to you? I didn't really have much of a theme. I'm just trying this for the first time, and just kind of curious if it's worth my time to do this every once in a while. You know, always trying new things, because if you're not trying new things, you're just getting stagnant, right? So let me know. Let's see. Yes, yes, yes. Live chats are fun. This was great. Do it again monthly, maybe even bi-weekly. And I think what I would rather do is maybe talk about the car, start out about the car that I have just reviewed, and then, maybe take some questions after that. Because a lot of people have questions about the vehicles that I review. I try to get to everything, but if I did get to everything, these things would be 45 minutes long. And I try to be brief, and I try to be, just straight to the point. I try not to waste your time, because I really hate watching videos that waste my time. In fact, the reality is I don't really watch videos, because I'm always working on mine. So, boy, we've got some people that have been very nice. Vichyssois of Verbose, thank you very much. Can you get the Kona N for a test drive? I would love to. I've heard it's a lot of fun, and I do like fun to drive cars. I love my Miata. It's great fun. Not very practical, but it works for me. And you're welcome. I like doing the reviews. Okleomen, I know I'm saying that wrong, but thank you very much. That's very generous. Enjoy my dinner. I'm having spaghetti and meatballs. Yum. Suggest to get a moderator. Yeah. I'm feeling this out, guys. I really am. Okay, I am out of here. Thanks for joining me, and next time it'll be even better, all right? Thanks. All right, David, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Appreciate the gas money. All right, folks, and if I missed anybody, I'm very sorry. Please leave a comment in the Volvo XC60 if I somehow missed you, and I will make it up to you somehow. All right? All right. Take care, everybody. I just need to figure out how to turn it off.